Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh. I am Reverend Dr. Kadar Walker, and I am so delighted to serve as the minister of this wonderful community. It is Sunday, November 14th, 2021. Can't believe we're halfway through November. We are so glad that you have chosen to be with us this morning, whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are from. You are welcome here. Whatever reason you chose to click on the YouTube link that got you out of bed, got your cup of coffee or your cup of tea, got off the yoga mat, or you just rolled over and clicked. We are so glad you were with us this morning. You are more than welcome. We are a community dedicated to welcoming the stranger, to working for justice wherever the heavy weight of oppression has woven into the fabric of life. I am live here in our sanctuary, but I am certainly not alone. I have an extraordinary team here working with me today. We have our liturgist, Brian Bandley. For all ages, story is coming from the great Erica Shadowsong. And our musical guest, who you've already met, I'm just so delighted to have Nomi Marcus on the marimba. Absolutely stunning. And our tech team today is made of Paul Cunningham and Emily Sweeney. On behalf of the team, thank you for being with us this morning. Now, if this is your very first time with us, we'd like to be connected. We're so glad that you chose to be with us. And if you have not already done so, please visit our website and sign up for our newsletter. Get us know who you are. Our website is first-unitarian-pgh.org. You can just Google it. It'll take you right there. We're glad to have you. And you can get any Zoom link for our social hour afterward. You're welcome to join us for social hour. For a Zoom link, all you have to do at any point in the next hour, send an email to us. You'll get an auto response, and that email, just send it to First Unitarian Pittsburgh, all one word, First Unitarian Pittsburgh @gmail.com. You'll get an automatic response with the Zoom link for social hour. We'd love to meet you. I'd like to make sure you know that you can settle in and arrive mentally, take a deep breath. Let yourself settle in physically and spiritually and emotionally and be present with us this morning in whatever way that means. Maybe let go of your list of things to do today. Be present in the here and now. Be present with us. Imagine yourself connected to everyone else who is watching at this moment. We may be in a pandemic, my friends. We may still be at home on Sunday mornings, but we are not alone. We are not alone. We are worshiping together. We turn to our chalice lighting, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. The flame within these two circles is a circles of Unitarian and Universalism, but that flame is something that kindles within all of our hearts collectively and individually. And today, we're going on a journey to explore about that flame of passion that pushes us to survive all of life's great and little threats, to find out what makes us tick, whether we're on the top of a mountain or struggling yet again at the Thanksgiving table with the inappropriate jokes from our family members. One way or another, my friends, let's find out who we are, why we're here, and how we're going to go from not just survival, but to thriving in our world. Welcome, welcome to you all. Let us sing.
Love knocks and waits for us to hear, to open and invite. Love longs to quiet every fear and seeks to set things right. Love offers life in spite of foes who threaten and condemn, embracing enemies not the sound of welcome from within. Love sings and dances all around and feels new life within.
Good morning. I'm Erica Shadowsong, Lifespan Director of Religious Education. And the story that I have for you today, some of you may have heard it, is from Sufi tradition. Sufism is a mystical tradition, part of Islam, that seeks absolute knowledge and mystical union with God or divine love, a concept which was introduced to it by Rabia al-Basra, one of the tradition's highest saints. It focuses on an inner spirituality, and it arose at a time when people were focused on more materialism, and so it arose as a backdrop, as a response to that. So as I tell this story, think about that background and what this story might represent in that context. There was once a small boy who banged on a drum all day, and he loved every moment of it. He would not be quiet. He just loved making noise on the drum. No matter what anybody said or did, he just kept banging on the drum. That was his favorite thing to play with. Various people who called themselves Sufis and other well-wishers, people who thought they knew something that could help, were called in by neighbors, and they were asked advice. What do we do about this child? Well, the first so-called Sufi told the boy that if he continued to make such noise on the drum, he would perforate his own eardrums. But the boy was a toddler and did not understand what that meant, wasn't a scientist or a scholar, so that didn't work. The second told him that beating a drum was a sacred activity that should only be done on special occasions. The boy had no idea what special occasions were, so that didn't mean anything. The third offered the neighbors plugs for their ears. The fourth tried to give the boy a book and get him interested in reading instead. The fifth gave neighbors books that described a method of controlling anger through biofeedback. The sixth gave the boy meditation exercises to make him placid and explain that all reality was imagination. Like any placebo, each of these remedies worked for a little while, but none worked for very long. Eventually, a real Sufi came along. He looked at the situation and he handed the boy a hammer and a chisel. And he said, "I wonder what's inside the drum." So I invite you to think about this piece of Sufi wisdom and leave you with one question. Who are you in this story?
Our religious community is made up of volunteers and staff creating and hosting a variety of programming, even as we endure this pandemic. We rely on your financial support. Please take time to reflect on your ability to financially support this community. Donations by check may be mailed to the church office. Electronic donations can be made online through the church website or by texting GIVE to 412-435-1050 and following the instructions.
such joy. Thank you, Nomi. I also want to offer my joy to our hymn leader this morning, Sue Orvitz. Thank you very much for being with us. I forgot to mention you earlier. You are with us. There are so many joys out there in this world, and it is so helpful to notice them and to name them and to let them into our body, to help calm anxieties and stresses that we are feeling and experiencing. Because there are so many sorrows, there are so many concerns, so many lie silent within the sanctuary of our hearts. And I want you to know, please, we do not journey in this life alone. We are here together. We are here together, in not in body, certainly in spirit and in mind. Please join me in a moment of silence and personal prayer. May the spirit of joy infect our hearts, fill it up from the tiniest light on an autumn leaf passing through from the sky down to the ground. Let our hearts be filled with the sight and the smells and the feel of autumn. Let us look up into those glistening leaves on the trees and the oaks and on the pines. Let us be reminded again and again of the depth and beauty and breadth of nature. For even as our hearts are breaking from one day to the next with illness and death, with concerns and fears of climate crisis, with concerns and fears of racism and sexism, and ageism and ableism and all sorts of oppressions in our world, and we still push too many to the margins, too many are hurting. But we cannot engage in this work of justice, my friends, unless we remember the joy found in the soothing notes of the marimba, found in the soothing notes of our own voice singing, found in the soothing notes of a child's cry, or a beloved at the other end of a phone call. So many places to soothe our heart's deepest fears. May the life find its joy even as we embrace the sorrow. In this time of autumn, let us remember the transitions of life are always flowing, always shifting, and let us go with that momentum ever smoothly, like a river flowing through life. Let us float. Blessed be, and amen.
Our reading this morning is from the Reverend Adam Lawrence Dyer, who is the lead minister at the First Parish in Cambridge Unitarian Universalist, Cambridge, Massachusetts. He is the author of Love Beyond God, a collection of poetry and reflections focused on Black identity and liberal religion. His blog, spirituwellness.org, explores the relationship between bodies, faith, and politics. He is a graduate of Princeton University and the Pacific School of Religion. What Do We Believe In? By Reverend Adam Lawrence Dyer. Do not struggle with what you have, fighting for a world called prosperity, dancing with a concept called mobility, searching for a place called security. Believe that you have enough. Easy to say when your belly is full, when you are warm and dry, and when smiles are affirmation. Less when pockets are empty and you fear failure every day, in a place where every face is another debt to pay. Do not struggle with how you are, fighting for the perfect body, dancing with identity, searching for peaceful physicality. Believe that you are enough. Easy to say when your body behaves, when the mirror reflects desire, and you are the light of beauty and youth. Less when each breath brings agony, and your body is a ship navigating between pain and limitation. Do not struggle with how you feel. Fight for laughter, dancing with humor, searching for joy. Believe that you are enough. Easy to say when you are connected, and there are shoulders to cry on and hands to hold. Less when bleakness surrounds you, when your only friend is sleep, and sleep is elusive as a lover. But you must believe. You have enough. You are enough. You feel enough. If you don't believe, no one else will. The first step is being loved. The first step to being loved is believing that you can love yourself.
Thank you, Brian. I love to go hiking and camping, downhill skiing, cross-country skiing in the backcountry, where everything is so quiet and peaceful and powerful. I've gone snowshoeing and camping at 10,000 feet in the middle of winter, biking, mostly road biking, but I like mountain biking too, and sailing, sailing, whitewater rafting, kayaking, canoeing. Don't worry, I'm actually an expert swimmer. I've been caving, not just the big public tours, but private caves, what some people call spelunking, but not the real cavers. They just call it caving. I've been rock climbing, that's a thrill. Parachuting, I have. I don't mind traveling alone, even in foreign countries. Now, some people might say that this is all risky behavior. Well, it is to some degree. I mean, I get up and preach every Sunday right now to an iPhone. I'm just assuming you're all out there. It feels a little risky to me. Risk-taking is always part of life, and one of the ways we manage the fears is we minimize it. We minimize it, and so we can get up and do it is what we want to do. All of these have some element of some adrenaline, and I'm always learning about myself, always learning about who I am and who I'm not. Most do not include engines, teams, or competitions. I'm there to learn about me and where my edges of existence are. And yes, I enjoy some risk-taking and pushing my body and my mind. And I don't enjoy drugs. That's not one of my things. It's not that kind of enjoying my mind. This is about a synchronizing of my mind and my body and my spirit. It's about pushing and discovering how to be in sync with nature, how to be cohesive. And I learn more and more. But thanks to church member Andrew Papelli, who is also a member of our Wizard Tech team, I read a book that he recommended just this week, and I've discovered how much I don't know, how much I need to learn, which turns out to be very crucial in surviving when you're engaged in a risky situation and things go terribly, terribly wrong. The best-selling book is titled Deep Survival: Who Lives, Who Dies, and Why by Lawrence Gonzales. I too recommend it. It's a study of risk takers, how they do and how they don't survive when in life-threatening situations. Now, Gonzales studies the big risk takers, the fighter pilots, the high mountain climbers, the firefighters, not the Girl Scout risk takers like me. I found the book deeply engrossing, and I couldn't put it down. I discovered that Gonzales offers a gold mine of precious nuggets for all of us who are just trying to survive life. Health crises, divorces, job loss, death of a loved one, or a life-threatening worldwide pandemic. So over the past 20 months, we've watched and we've experienced over and over again how easily our emotional triggers and our buttons are being pushed. The pandemic has erupted a lot of deep emotional reactions. Many of them are uncontrolled and unfamiliar feelings. Strong argument has been put out, in fact, that we're all being traumatized. There are some characteristics certainly strongly in favor of that. Emotions running high, and people are doing what's called lots of reacting. They're reacting. That's an immediate fight or freeze or fight or flight emotional response where we're trying to seek comfort and security, protection. We see parents yelling at school board members and other parents and at teachers. We see patients yelling at doctors and nurses who are just trying to save their lives. We see customers yelling at flight attendants and store clerks for having to put on a mask. We're seeing gun sales go up and violent crime increasing. And we've seen that 40% of the U.S. population has yet to be fully vaccinated. That is risky behavior. And it's triggered by an emotional response to a high stress level where people are finding that their amygdala has been highly stimulated. Lots of reacting going on. Rampant fear, anxiety, trauma, and panic. We're having amygdala blowouts all over the place. Many people are feeling really lost. Some are feeling less lost but confused. Our point of orientation feels like it's disappeared behind a mist of confusion. Well, the alternate to that highly reactive state, where we have a more healthy response, is there. The media just doesn't cover it. It's not as exciting, not good clickbait, but responding as opposed to reacting is a slower, it's more thoughtful, comes from the neocortex and has the intention to heal, not to harm. It's not about protecting the self, it's about protecting all of us. Responding requires many things, and this is where Gonzales's analysis of who survives horrific accidents in high-risk environments can help save lives every single day. He offers life-saving measures for everyone, not just those who are hanging off of a rope on a 10,000-foot cliff with a broken leg. I'd like to not experience that. That would be good. So Gonzales's first lesson that I have gotten over and over again is we need to realize how much we don't know. We need to realize how important humility it can save a life. Over-reliance on past, outdated information, a lack of awareness of our unconscious, powerful memories that are propelling us forward into unsafe actions. We need to know that we don't know, even if we don't know what we don't know. We need that it's crucial to pause, realize what we don't know. Humility. And that gives time and space to soothe our amygdala, that highly reactive, tender place of emotional living, and reassess. Let new information rearrange what we think is reality. Recognize how stress is impacting our memories. Can't tell you how many times people say, my memory is fuzzy. It's because we're all stressed out, particularly our short-term memory, our working memory. It's compromised. And so is our ability to think clearly and rationally. It's been very compromised. Stress strips a lot of that away, of those normal ways that we react to the world. So we pause, give a chance to catch up, assess how we're denying, for example. We all deny to some degree. We overcompensate with confidence and denial. I'm fine. We're all fine. We're fine. Really, we're just fine. It's a way of coping that doesn't actually help. Because when we pause, we ask for new information that might tell us something really important. Okay, pause. That's great, Reverend Kate. Why are you telling us this now? We're kind of on the other side of the pandemic, aren't we? We've got vaccines. We're on the downside. Yeah, we are. We've come a long ways in the last 20 months, without a doubt. We're nowhere near where we're in full shutdown in the spring of 2020. Well, I'm going to tell you something really important that I learned from Gonzalez. Most climbing accidents, most hiking accidents happen on the descent, on the way down. Most skiing accidents happen at the end of the day, on the last run. When we're most tired, our muscles and our mind are fully taxed. And when we are most relaxed because we've celebrated at the top, we've reached our goal, hit the apex, and we're ready for the shower, the full meal at the lodge, and a glass of wine, and that memory is drawing us powerfully forward. And that's when accidents happen. It's an elixir to a stress-out body. All of us here have reached that point when we want to get back into our community together, and we're more likely to relax the safety measures that are keeping each other alive. Accidents happen when we're relaxed and not paying attention on the descent. So here we are, seeing line at the end of the pandemic mountain. There's a warm shower, full stop. Pause, look, listen, reassess, gain a new orientation. I'm not sure we have the same point of goals that we did 2 years ago. What is really going on? Who has been harmed? What has changed in the last 2 years? Who is still at the margin screaming for help? We need to recognize, name the impact of stress on our bodies, as well as the bodies of those who have been most harmed. I can tell you right now, there's a lot of apathy and fatigue that's going on. Our bodies have been dealing with this pressure, these reactions, for months and months. I've been reading on Facebook from a lot of my UU colleagues, Unitarian Universalist colleagues, about rampant apathy and fatigue in their congregations, as well as my colleagues themselves. I think here at First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh, we've benefited by having a new ministry. I know I have. We kind of got the slip on that because we have a new energy of a new relationship, but we're surrounded by people who are exhausted and tired. On this descent, we are carrying dangerous levels of inattention to life-saving details. And really, if we look back far enough, we've been stressed for a long time. It's not just the last 2 years of the pandemic. We could go back to 9/11 when we went to war. And then we elected Donald Trump. We need to pause, my friends. And it's sometimes the hardest thing to do. We love that forward momentum of just getting to our goal. It's a natural energy propulsion. I feel it when I'm biking, when I'm skiing, when I'm driving. I don't like to stop. I want to reach my goal. I'm in a zone. I just want to keep going. But sometimes that natural propulsion to keep going is what could actually do the most harm. It's what people do when they're lost, actually. They just keep going. They don't stop and pause and realize they're lost, that they don't have the internal map that matches the external world anymore. We're at higher risk of being lost even more so if we don't pause and look around at the geography. So what's really going on in the circumstances, and then we have to accept we're lost. That's the first step in saving ourselves if we're lost. We have to accept we're lost. Can't get unlost if you don't know you're lost. Kind of a simple rule, actually. A lot of people die not doing it. But then we can shift perspectives. Shift. When we're lost, and here is where ancient religious teachings help us. We take a Buddhist stance, a Zen beginner's mind. Let our senses perk up, a curious mind. See the moment through a different lens, shifting it. There are subtle cues that may be triggering an unconscious warning or signaling us to look in a direction we've never looked before and really pay attention. We need to shift what we expect to see to what we really are seeing. Adam Dyer's reading does just that. I love the way he juxtaposes what we expect to see in his words about do not struggle with what you have, fighting for a world called prosperity, dancing with a concept called mobility, searching for a place called security, believe that you have enough. I could preach those words. I probably have preached those words. But then he makes you shift your perspective, your lens, and he says, easy to say when your belly is full. I didn't see that coming. When you are warm and dry, when smiles are affirmation. Less when pockets are empty and you fear failure every day. In a place where every face is another debt to pay. He juxtaposes these two different realities of where people live. One living, possibly thriving, one barely surviving. They could be neighbors on the same street, one house away. We could pass each other, sit together in a pew. If we pause and listen and give attention, we find there are a lot of lost people who are struggling on the same street and avenues as we are. Same mountain of success, but their mountain is crumbling. The design of the human condition is remarkably easily made to conceal the obvious from ourselves. We tend to see what we expect to see. But when we're under strain and pressure from family and friends pushing us where we don't want to go, we're even more likely to miss things. We can't see what's right in front of us. Last couple months, I started taking my dogs to different dog parks in the area, and I hit Frick Park. I was told there was a wonderful dog park near the Blue Slide Playground. Got on Google, looked at the map. Got a picture of where it was, not right next to the road. It's in somewhere. Okay, look at the map, memorize it. Drove to the park and walked up, asked directions. They were a bit vague, odd. But it's down there, they said. I had a mental map. That's the path to the dog park, no problem. 2 Springer Spaniels pulling me in 5 different directions, but no problem. I can handle this. I walk about 1/3 of a mile and then come to a point with a sign that said, dog park, with arrows facing both directions. It didn't fit the mental map I had inside my head. Well, I stood there for about 10 seconds, Springer Spaniels pulling me now in 10 different directions, wondering which way to go. Dog park, which way? They pointed both directions, so the momentum pulled me to the left. That is, 2 Springer Spaniels. But within a few hundred feet, there was no park. This can't be right. It was kind of narrow, and it was dirt, and it didn't look like it was going into a park. I didn't see it down the future. Nope, no park. Turned around, went back, went the other way. Well, where is this park? Finally, Faith said, keep going. I'm not lost, just keep going. I found the park. I know a lot of you are laughing at me right now. That's okay. I can take it. What I realized is that it was a circle. Why didn't they just say that on the sign? Say it's a circle instead of 2 straight lines. My brain did not adapt to the circumstances that were in front of me. Stop, pause, rewrite what we're really seeing from what we're expecting. The world is always shifting. It's always changing, reaching different critical balancing point. Smart climbers and hikers know the mountain is falling. Smart climbers and hikers know the mountain is falling. It's a simple and a powerful reality. Mountains decay with each and every step we take, whether up or down. We're always shifting our reality. Constant new information. And my friends, that means to some degree we're always in the wilderness. We're always a bit lost. And we often shouldn't be just waiting for rescuers. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Knowing when is important. But there are a lot of people who are lost and wait for the rescuers, and they die with a full backpack of food and gear. Interesting things that our brains go through. The mountain is following, and most of the time we need to be the rescuer, not the victim. Rescuers tend to live. The wilderness just means bewildered, to be bewildered. So we're pause. What is our neighbors telling us? What are our friends telling us? Gonzalez tells a story where he was engaging with different survival training techniques, and this particular survival technique taught him about nature. What was nature as a gift and a resource? And what he learned is that birds are the radar of the forest. He was camping in Big Bend National Forest in Texas-Mexico border and took a day hike with a naturalist named Anita to escape the heat. He was tired, he was dehydrated, and he just had that keep going attitude. 3 things that are risk-taking: tired, dehydrated, and you won't stop and pause. And then the naturalist stopped and paused, and he heard what she heard. It was a blue jay screeching at the top of its lungs. And they paused and listened and found the blue jay there in a tree, looking down and screaming at the top of her lungs, wailing. And they both looked down at the path, and there was a great big rattler. They almost certainly would have stepped on it. The rattler had just eaten the blue jay's baby. Birds are the radar of the forest. And if we pay attention to those unusual radars, we learn so much to surviving in this world. So here's a couple other lessons. Rest frequently. Stay hydrated. Maintain a healthy mental attitude. And here's one more, my friend. Here's one more that you probably don't see coming. Use humor. Use humor. And our survival techniques, when we stop and pause and reassess, look for the funny, the joyful, the soothing. Humor helps us manage our fear. It de-escalates our terror. It's why Navy pilots who are landing on the deck of a life aircraft carrier out in the middle of the ocean have a very dark sense of humor, along with firefighters. Yeah, that's how they keep their humor. They use humor to keep their terror under control. That delicate balancing point when we pause and we let our brain rebalance and we assess what's going on with our emotions. That is the powerful engine of what motivates us. And we assess what's going on with our thinking. That is the driver that decides where we're going. The engine, our emotions, keep us going. The mind, our cognition, keeps us from driving over the cliff at the last minute. So next time you're at the dinner table and you're triggered yet again by who knows what, said by some family member, well-meaning, pause, listen, reassess, check in with what's inside the drum. It's a delicate and crucial balance, shifting from reaction to response. But you can make different choices, take a different path out of the wilderness. So through this whole process of reading this book, thank you, Gonzalez. Why do I engage in risky sports? Because I choose to live. I choose to live. So for me, survival is a celebration of life over death, and I want to celebrate life right at the edges. I'm not a firefighter. No, not that kind of edge. I'm not going to climb a 28,000-foot peak. I'm not that kind of liver. No, that's okay. But I do want to find my comfort zone where the bony edges are in my life, where wind is in my face or pushing at my back, and I want to accept each new situation that I find myself in with a Zen Buddhist posture of the beginner's mind, learning again and again, who am I? What is this world that I find myself in? So here's my invitation to you. Here's my homework. I invite you to engage in a daily practice, to pause, reassess. Even if you're not feeling triggered or stressed, just keep pausing on a regular basis and reassess. Where are you now? Where did you expect to be? What is your heart saying? What is your mind saying? Find that balance between the engine of our heart and the brain, our driver. And that sweet spot, that Zen moment, when we find ourselves synchronated and in connection with the wonderful world that we're in. No, you are enough. Believe in that. Blessed be and amen.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot see speak before thousands. You can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
As we extinguish our flame, I invite you to speak words that are found in the order of service, if you have that, or perhaps they're in your heart, words that are shared by Unitarian Universalist churches all across the country this morning. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go forth, my friends, go forth into this world. May you find yourselves a little more present to its beauty, a little more presence to its sorrow. But may you find yourselves pausing, reassessing, and asking, where am I? And this is where I wanted to be. Return again in love. Return again.